Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today. We are talking with director Elliott Hasler. He's the director of the new film Vindication Swim. And I really wanted to have you on because I love open water swimming. And so when I heard about this and heard about you telling Mercedes' story, thought that was super cool. And so grateful to have you on. And Elliott, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No, no worries. Thank you for having me on. I noticed your shirt actually with the little
Yeah.
swim logo on it. Yeah, that's great.
It says for our audio listeners, I know I swim like a girl. Try to keep up in my shirt. So, yeah, for people that might not know, I uh, have open water swimmed for, I haven't done it for, as far as official races, I haven't done it for a bit, but I have done over 15 open water swim races since about 2000, and I think my first one was in 2006, and it's just something that I really do love.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Yeah, well
Yeah,
done.
it's so much fun, and it's got so many unique challenges, and I'm excited to talk to you about this and making this film. But what inspired you just to get into directing at all?
I've always loved film from a very young age. So growing up, it's kind of always been my passion. And then
Uh-huh.
when I was at school, there was a sort of week where we didn't do any lessons, and instead we made this adaptation of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And that was kind of my first experience, albeit at a very kind of amateur level, of sort of seeing how films are made and how they're kind of put together, and getting that sort of experience of putting a camera there and you've got people in front of it sort of acting around and stuff, and then stitching that together in the edit. And that for me was kind of, yeah, just my first taste of that really. And then I caught the bug from there really, and I became sort of obsessed
Mhm.
with filmmaking, and sort of making little films with friends and family, and the quality kind of grew over time, and
Uh-huh.
led to Vindication Swim. But I'm all self-taught. I've never studied film formally. It's sort of,
Okay, so you didn't go to film school.
no, I never did. No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's good. Were there particular films that especially inspired you
Yeah,
growing up?
definitely. I'm a big fan of David Lean. Lawrence of Arabia is probably my
Uh,
favorite film of all time. And then
that's good.
other films like Apocalypse Now, I'm a big fan of. Anything Steven Spielberg's made, particularly Jaws. I love all his work. As a child, I was a big fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, which I think was probably the first film that got me into making films initially. So, I mean, there's kind of a wide variety of different movies, really. I'm very passionate about cinema, and I love sort
Yeah.
of watching the old classics and new
Yeah.
stuff as well.
That's a good variety of people that you just listed. And I mean, David Lean, what's so impressive about him, there was many things, but just how much his variety, the different kinds of films, they're not all like, I mean, to do everything from Brief Encounter to Lawrence of Arabia is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's this incredible kind of breadth of work that he's got
Yeah.
there. It's the variety.
Mhm. That's cool. So how did you get involved in Vindication Swim? How did this all happen? Because you wrote and directed it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I was sort of looking for a story to turn into a film, and then I just sort of stumbled across the story of Mercedes Gleitze. I'd never heard of her before, and we actually share the same hometown of Brighton on the south coast of England. So I should have known who
Oh,
she was.
wow.
We were born exactly a century apart, her in 1900 and then myself in 2000. So I felt very connected to her from the outset. And then the more I read about her and the more I kind of learned her story, I was just enthralled by it, really. She was a remarkable woman, and what she did, back then in the 1920s, to go out there and just sort of defy all the expectations of society, and then battle Mother Nature itself, and come out, on top. It was just remarkable, really. So I was, instantly kind of captivated by her, and then sort of really wanted to turn her story into a film.
Mhm. So you had never made a film though before. So how are you able to do it? Like,
Well, I had made a feature before,
oh, okay.
which was it was a very amateur project, just friends and family in it. It wasn't, this was kind of my professional debut where Vindication Swim was. So I'd made this film before. It was about my great grandfather during the Second World War, and this escape attempt he made from a prisoner of war camp in Italy, and then this huge journey he did evading the Nazis and living with the resistance and things. So I kind of dramatized that as a film while I was still at school between the ages of 14 and 16. And it did very well, despite being, an amateur project. It got a UK, a US release. It came out on Paramount Plus last year in Europe as well. So, it did really well
Hey,
for what it was. And then off
yeah,
that, I
not
was
too
able
shabby.
to do Vindication Swim, essentially.
Wow. So, I mean, did you have to, I mean, how do you even like find the people to present it to or to like, how do you even do that? Like, how does, like, that's incredible.
It just kind of really worked up from nothing. On my previous film on World War II, The Long Road Home, I didn't know anybody. I just began making it myself. Friends and family involved, and then I think kind of as it goes on, you start to network and you start to meet people.
Yeah.
And they know people, and then everything kind of snowballs really. And then, I mean, by the time we did Vindication Swim, I wouldn't say my network's particularly large. I still didn't know that many people. It was just a very small team of sort of
Uh-huh.
dedicated people who wanted to tell Mercedes' story, really. And then that film developed momentum of its own, and we got producers on board as it went on, and then we got sort of deals and different things as it was going, really. So it kind of evolved over the course of the 3 years that we were making it.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcasts, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So how did you first hear about Mercedes' story?
I just stumbled across it in an article. I wish there was kind of a slightly more grand story for how I found out about it, but that was it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Was it more intimidating to do the writing or to do the directing?
The directing, definitely, just
Yeah.
because of the nature of how this film was made. We shot everything out at sea, so there was no tanks, no green screens, no body doubles even. Kirsten Callahan, who plays Mercedes,
Wow.
did all her own swimming for the film. So, being out there on the open ocean and trying to piece this together and direct was definitely challenging, to say the least.
What did you shoot it on out there in the ocean?
We were just shooting on like this little Canon DSLR. It was nothing grand, we just needed something very small, very lightweight that we could fit into the waterproof housing that we had, and be able to submerge it in the water essentially.
Uh-huh. Well, one of the things I've said for a long time is that it's very hard to make swimming cinematic because your face is in the water, like you can't see them, and so as opposed to other sports. Is that something you thought about?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's the added challenge of not making your audience seasick.
Yeah, that too.
In the movie as well. So, it was a challenge of sort of thinking of ways to shoot out there that kept it dynamic and kept it interesting. I think the main ethos of the film really was to submerge the audience in the water alongside Mercedes Gleitze. So they really kind of felt like they were with her on her journey. So, I shot the film, so I was in the water for a lot of the shoot, bobbing around in a wetsuit, basically trying to keep the horizon level really to avoid people getting seasick. But yeah, that was kind of the ethos, really just making it immersive and really kind of celebrating the beauty of the English Channel, because it's a stunning environment. You have the white cliffs and then, just all the different moods of the sea that you could capture out there and the different types of weather.
Would you consider yourself a swimmer?
Not to the level of Mercedes Gleitze, but
Sure.
I can swim and I do enjoy swimming. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell the audience listening a little bit about Mercedes, her story, what the story of the movie?
Yeah, so Mercedes Gleitze was a pioneer in open water swimming. She was originally a working class typist who lived in London. She always had these dreams of swimming the English Channel. And so the film kind of focuses on her her English Channel attempt of 1927, where she finally made it after 7 previous failed attempts at the channel. So it's really a story of kind of determination, resilience, perseverance, because, you know, as a woman in the 1920s, she was up against so many barriers from society, and then obviously from nature itself when she went out and tried to swim the channel. So yeah, it's sort of this story of her really, and her passion for the water. And then there's a rival who comes along and claims to kind of have accomplished the same feat. And then Mercedes is kind of forced into a battle to retain her legacy, essentially. I don't want to give too much of that part away, because it kind of, you know, it unfolds in the film. So yeah, but I mean, essentially that is sort of the story. It's this biopic of this incredible woman who was the first British woman to swim the English Channel.
Yeah. So you literally shot it in the English Channel.
We did, yeah, over the course of 3 years. It was a long and arduous production.
Wow. So yeah, that must have been very challenging.
Yeah, it was. I mean, absolutely. Sometimes we'd go out there and we'd get, you know, 1 or 2 shots, and that would be it for the day, because the tides would change or the winds would change, and it would just make it unsafe to carry on filming. So we'd have to abandon the shoot, come back in, and then other days we go out there and, you know, we get tons of footage, and it was a great experience. But yeah, it was just kind of challenge after challenge. I think that the best day, well, the funniest day in hindsight was the very first day we went out to film. Everyone was struck with really bad seasickness, and John Locke, who plays Mercedes' coach in the film, he would be delivering his lines to one side of the boat, then turning to the other side and vomiting into the water, and then turning back and delivering his lines. It was, I mean, you know, it just shows kind of how challenging it was, but then also, you know, the level of dedication from everyone on the project. You know, they really kind of suffered to bring this to life. It's
really cold, isn't it? The water?
It's chilly, yeah. It's about 16 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's certainly not warm. No. So that's why we were limited to the summer months, but, you know, it's still cold then. But
sure,
when we missed that, we kind of had to wait a whole other year before we could go out and continue filming, which is why it ended up taking such a long time.
Yeah. Wow. So how did you pick Kirsten as the lead? How did that happen?
So we put out an open call to actors to come and audition for the role. And, you know, we'd seen quite a lot of people, and no one was quite right. And then Kirsten came through the door, and it looked as though Mercedes had walked through.
She looks a lot like her.
She does. They're like
really does
one another. Yeah. So she'd done her hair in like a 1920s style, had these like 20s earrings. She like really made the extra effort. And then, you know, she sat down, she auditioned. We were like, yeah, she can act. You know, she's a good actress. And, you know, I think it was also her commitment to doing everything, of doing all the swimming. You know, she wasn't going to have a body double. That she was very adamant about that. She was going to do it all for real. And I think, you know, that kind of solidified our view that we'd found our Mercedes Gleitze.
Did she have to do a lot of swim training?
Yeah, we trained her up, sort of intensive open water swimming training, for about 3 or 4 months before we started filming. And then over the course of the whole 3-year production, she just carried on training, carried on swimming the whole time.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's really good.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Is it hard to tell the story when she doesn't get your traditional, as far as Vindication Swim, spoiler alert, I guess, but she doesn't get like the traditional vindication, the traditional victory that you might have in a sports movie?
No, she doesn't. And that was really what drew me to the story, really. I think there's something very British in it. This idea kind of ties into like Dunkirk of this sort of glorious failure, you know, this idea that you kind of have to fail in order to succeed. And I think, you know, Mercedes kind of embodies that. And that was really something that definitely attracted me to the film. Yeah. To kind of capture this unorthodox ending to a sports movie.
Yeah. So was there more black and white at one point in the movie? Because I was looking on the letterbox and they were like talking. There's some black and white, but there wasn't like a ton. But I was looking on the letterbox and people were talking all about black and white. I was just wondering, at one point was there more, and then you made it more color, or no?
Yeah, there was. So in the
Okay,
UK, there's more black and white, and then for the
okay,
international release, it's kind of all in color except the little newsreel.
yeah. Except the newsreel. Okay, so that's interesting. So you shot, you you made that change. You did a bunch of it in black and white.
Yeah. So we shot it all in color, and then a little bit was put into black
Sure,
and white
sure.
for the UK version.
Yeah. Was that sad that you had to lose that, or?
I think each version has its charm. I mean, it was originally intended to have the hybrid of the black and white and color, but then seeing it, graded and everything in full color, I think it looks great as well. Yeah.
Mhm. One of the things that's interesting about open water swimming is that I don't know if it's the same for running, it might be, but when you're in the water and it just feels like you're making like no progress. You can be really close and it feels like you're on a swimming treadmill. It's so weird. Your mind plays tricks on you. And I was wondering if you like talked to open water swimmers, if you got that sort of feeling, if that was something that you that you tried to capture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we put a lot of research into the swimming bit. So we spoke to
Uh-huh.
a number of channel swimmers,
Yeah.
and sort of open water swimmers in general. So yeah, we did kind of, there's bits where it sort of nods to that. There's this thing with the English Channel where if you miss the tide, it adds like 6 hours onto the swim, and you're just kind of battling against it, and you literally are
Uh,
making no progress. So it's really something that is very prevalent for sure in channel swimming.
it is a really, really crazy thing. I mean, and even though like I haven't done anything major, just this like swimming the Great Salt Lake is the hardest thing that I've done, which is
Wow.
it is tough. But uh, but yeah, it's just because you try to find something to side off of to look at in the and which is very hard at Great Salt Lake because there's literally no living, there's nothing living there, and you just it just feels like I'm never going to make it. It's so mentally strange. It's really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a kind of this idea we have in the film that a lot of swimmers I'd spoke to had mentioned of when you see the white cliffs,
Oh,
you feel like you're there, but you're not there because you're still so far away. So the film kind of plays on that idea
yeah.
of that, and then
I
it,
felt for her when she's like she's got 6 miles, but she can see the cliffs. Oh, she's like, they're right there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely, you could feel that frustration. Yeah.
Mm. So
Yeah.
close yet so far.
Oh, so what do you hope that people take away from the film?
I think the main thing is for people to be inspired by it. Mercedes' story is really one of inspiration. She
Hmm.
really embodies these traits of resilience, of perseverance, determination, and this kind of idea that anyone can achieve anything. The power of the individual, essentially, I think, is what Mercedes Gleitze is all about. So, she was really up against it as a woman, as the daughter of German immigrants, as someone of the working class, and she just defied all of those odds and really went out there and achieved her dreams. So I think it shows that anything is possible with the right grit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, very good. I enjoyed the film, and I think that it will be an aspiring true story that people can appreciate, and so this should check it out. Do you know what the release is? It available on streaming or
So we're
do you
releasing
know?
theatrically so we open in New York on the 17th of
Okay,
October, and then we do LA on the 24th. We've got a number of other screenings in between,
okay.
across the different coasts and in Canada as well.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Good. Well, we'd like to end our interviews with some fun get to know you questions. So, first question is what is the best ice cream flavor?
Ooh, I'm. Still, that is a tough question. I do quite like her cookies, like a cookie dough one. I'm quite partial to those.
Okay.
I think those are pretty
Yeah,
good.
that'd be good. All right. What's your favorite color?
Um, we'll go blue for the ocean.
Okay, good. What music are you into?
At the moment, because of the reunion, I'm big into Oasis again.
All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Date night food. Oh wow. I think pizza is a pretty good date night food.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. All right. What is your go-to date night activity if you're going out doing something?
I think just dinner and drinks. Keep it
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. All right. Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
I'm a dog person. I got a beagle.
Oh, cute. All right. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Definitely beaches. Yeah, I love a beach.
Me too. All right. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
I think Christmas. You can't beat Christmas.
Yeah. It's hard to beat Christmas because it's like a whole season where like other
Exactly.
holidays are just one day or one week. So,
Hmm.
yeah. All right. Last question. What is your favorite romantic movie?
Ooh, my favorite romantic movie. I'm going to go with Atonement, which is a bit of a depressing romantic,
Yeah.
movie, but it's romantic nonetheless.
There you go. All right. Good. You did it. You answered all the questions. Well, thank you very much. And I don't know if you have social media or anything like that you want to share.
Yeah, it's just my name at Elliott Hasler, and the film's at Vindication Swim Film on Instagram and Facebook and all the different sites.
Great. Very good. We'll have that all in the description. You should all check it out. And thanks again for talking with us.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
I'd like to thank Elliott for coming on the podcast. This was a lot of fun to get to talk with him. I hope you enjoyed it. So I do have a playlist with some of my swims if you want to see me in action. I'll put a link to that in the descriptions. Check that out, and let me know what you think about the movie. This is a very small budget movie, but I did enjoy it, and so let me know what you think if you get to see it. And please follow me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check all of that out. And also follow Hallmarkies podcast all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. Really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I have a playlist with all of my director interviews, which are a lot now over the years. So definitely take a look at that. Check out our patron group. That is the biggest way you can support everything that we're doing. And you get to be part of our watch alongs and other cool events. So please take a look at that. And we have the merch store. We have lots of fun designs. So check that out. And thanks again to Elliott. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.